So now that I've given you a bit of an introduction on how to do your isometric drawing, I'm going to do 4 drawings, all with the basic same box measurement. And then from there, I'm going to cut bits and pieces out. And I want you to have a go at following along with me as well. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a horizon to point to get me started. Just a horizontal line, I should say. And then my first one is going to be a vertical at 90 degrees, and it's going to be 4 centimeters. Then I'm going to use my 30-60 and go back 3 centimeters. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Can you guess? What should I be using? Millimeters. Good job. I knew you'd catch me. Okay, so I'm going to go back 30 millimeters on this side. And there we have our traditional Chooksfoot to get us started. And that's pretty much all we need. So if I just use some light lines to mark those on there. Parallel lines. Lines at a 30-degree angle. You created a book, and then you're going to close that up. And there we have our isometric box. Now what I am going to do is just go over that so you can see that a little bit better. And last one, just to close that off. There we have our first isometric box. So I want you to do the same thing. We're just going to cut out some shapes. So again, I'm going to start with that basic point. And then I'm going to put in my 90-degree angle. And how high am I going up? 40 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to use my 30-degree angle. You can see that I've got the long one flat. And I'm going to go back 30 millimeters on one side, 10, 20, 30 on the other. Close that up so it looks like a book. Turn it over, and one more time. And then I've just made the same box, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the letter L out. So I'm going to make the back of my L about 10 millimeters. Well, why don't I start with that front view? Mark that on, make that 10. Mark it across, that's 10. And that could be all that I need, I wonder. So I've got that front view there. I've got that end. And another one. I could use my vertical. Oh yeah, there you go. And then I cut that. There you go. There's our L. And I'm just going to go over that so you can see what I'm doing. Now, because those lines are nice and light, you actually don't need to rub them out, and all you need to do is go over those with your same pencil or a 2B pencil that's nice and sharp. Can you see it hidden in there? Out it comes. And I'm just going to keep going and closing those up. And there we have our second one done, sorry. I'm going to do my third one, and I'm going to use those same dimensions. Just going to start with a little bit of horizontal line there. And I'm going to do my vertical at 90 degrees, and that's 40 millimeters up. And then I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 30 millimeters. Same again. Oops, too far. Mark that one there. Put in my verticals to make my parallel lines. So I've got an open book. I'm going to close that up. And then I've got my awesome isometric box. And what I'm going to cut out of this one, can you guess what shape this one's going to be? What letter? We could just make it a letter, couldn't we? Okay, I'm going to measure 10 mils on either side. And then I'm going to put in my verticals. So when you're doing your lines, think about what line you're using. Are you using a horizontal or are you using a vertical? And I'm going to go 10 millimeters up. Are you using your parallel lines? And what sort of line are you using? So at the moment, I'm using all my construction lines. And then I'm going to use my marker, but I wouldn't normally use a marker. It's only so you can see. But you can just use a 2B pencil. And then I'm going to do my visible outlines. Another one in a minute. One more. I think rendering should probably be our next exercise because that would look great all done in tonal rendering. Okay, now our third one is a letter. But do you know what we're going to start with? Let's go wild, something different. Why don't we start with our horizontal? And then we start with our vertical, which is going to go up how far? 40 millimeters. Good guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to put in our chook's foot. And that's going to go back at 30 degrees, 10, 20, 30. Looks tiny. I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing. Go back 30 millimeters, 10, 20, 30. Looks small. Now I should be able to close all of that up. Using my constructions lines. So they're super, super light. Because if they're super light, you shouldn't have to rub them out, unless it gets too complicated, of course. And from there, I think I will cut the letter. Make that 10. Make that 10. Is that all I need? Could be, could be. Oh no, I need another one. I can see it now. I've got to measure 10 across in here. Just going to go over it so you can see it. And we have the letter. That's my puppy dog. Marble. She's about 10 weeks old now. Have you guessed the letter yet? I think I might go crazy on this one and put in some dimensions. And in that way, you'll know what that all is. Oops, missed one. You know what? I might even render one in the room. There we go, the letter C. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put in some dimension lines so that you can see what size the boxes are. So let's start with putting this one in. Now we spoke about this earlier, so you want to move about 2 millimeters across and draw a line of 10 millimeters, about 2 and 10, come back 2 millimeters. You can put your arrowhead in, and then we're going to have 10 millimeters for our lines. So if that's 10 millimeters and the other side is 30 millimeters, oops, a bit longer, arrowhead, then if this is 10 and this is 30, what distance does this one leave us? Have you guessed? Good. Okay, see how you go. That's because, okay, so this is 10 millimeters, and then this one over here is 40 millimeters. So the distance from here to here is 10 minus 40, which is 30 millimeters. Good, 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 good. Okay, now I'm going to show you the next one. So I'm going to go across 10, leave a gap of 2, make that dimension line 10. Oops. And then that's going to be 30 millimeters. Oh, you don't need to write the millimeters on there. So I'm going to get my trusty liquid paper. take that off. Ta-da! You wouldn't even know. Now, is that all you need? Oh, you need one more. Can you guess which one? You need to know the distance from here to here. So if I use my set square, which is 10, leave a gap of 2, go across 10. Leave a gap of 2, go across 10. Come back in 2. We're going to write 10 and put in our arrowheads. So there's our isometric letter L that's in a block, and then we've added some dimensions. Now the other thing we could have a go at doing is doing some rendering. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've just grabbed a 2B pencil, and because this is in quite a bit of shadow, this is probably going to be my darkest area. Now there's lots of different mark making you can do. You can do dots, you can do hatching. But in this one, I'm just going to do a little bit of shading. So it's darker there. And I might even use my set square to put a little border there, because I don't, that's lighter. And then I'm going to make it a little bit darker as it comes in there, because that would hide a little bit of that light, depending on where my light source is. So at the moment, my light source is probably in this direction. Now this is really quite neat, doing this tonal rendering. The direction in which you do your mark making is also important. Okay, now I'm going to do, shall I do any more? I'll just do a little bit there. I'm going to put the set square there to help it. Lightly, lightly. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter because it is coming up to that light source. Now you can't see my pencil drawing lines in that because it's really soft. And I don't want a white top. So this is going to be my lightest area. And there we have a rendered letter C. Now, you've got to be careful with that one because there's lots of pencil in there. You've got to be careful that you don't smudge that. Okay, so that will be one for you to have a go at doing. But these measurements here, these are all 10 and this is 20. This is 10, 10, 10. And they've all got the same measurement. So that height is 40, that width is 30, and that length is 30.